how much you owe.
Handwritten note.
Sure.
Or physically.
Energy. That creates the lid and everybody.
So if you and I disagree on something, then you must be erased and banished from life.
So how does
I'm just gonna sit here and drink this water.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to SamSpeaks and SamSpeaks Radio podcast on iTunes. We have Katie Maxwell today with Intero Houston. Katie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
And today we'll be discussing new agents and how do they find their training, how do they find coaching, and what's the best way to really learn how to be the best in this business. So Katie, you have a company that you run and you have about 20...
We're at 120 now.
Oh, I got 20.
Yeah, see?
Something right. I'm like, I knew there was a 20.
It was 20 at one point, yeah. Mostly of millennial agents. We didn't mean to, have this huge group of 25-somethings come into the office, but when you build a really cool modern space, non-traditional, that's just what happened, and I'm so happy it went that way.
Sure. So, I've discussed with a lot of different people, millennials and working with new agents and whatnot, but today I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of coaching, training, and where agents should really learn how to be a real estate agent and really make money and produce. So, what's training like at your company?
I don't like boxed training. There's a lot of these big brokerages that expect person A and person B to be able to learn the same exact way with this box, and they make them pay for it or whatever the case is. I don't like that because a young person that comes to me that's like 22 or 23 isn't going to learn from that. And in real estate, as we know, I think it's a crock. I think that box of training doesn't give them anything because the real experience that they're going to get is what the actual training is. So first of all, I try to recruit only agents who I know that can jump off that board without actually knowing how to swim and knowing that we are the backbone of the company. So from a broker standpoint, I think more brokers need to be more relevant in the life of their agent, because if we can show them that we are the backbone, they can get out there and start working without feeling they need to know everything. Also with these younger agents, they really are having a hard time because I guess they've had helicopter moms and dads, so they really feel like they need to get my endorsement on absolutely everything as they go. So training standpoint, there's a lot of one-on-one. There's a couple of hours spent just with me with all of those agents to let them know that I'm not their mom by any means, and I'm suddenly like the old lady in the office, but they have me there 100%. When they need something, they know that they come to me. And they may come to me brand new, but within a 5-year period, I know that with the right training, they're going to be top producing agents at the age of 25, 26, 27, purely from that one-on-one interaction that I give them. So I'll take my like leadership agents in the office and they'll do some one-on-one time, but there's no mentorship program where commissions are shared or anything. It's complete and 100% broker involvement. We do rally hours on Tuesdays where we bring the agents in. My most successful agents come to our meetings. I hate calling them meetings because that sounds boring, but we do these really motivational, fun training engagement type things on Tuesdays. We have workshops on Mondays because you see too much training going on in this industry where you just shoot out all this information and they never actually act on it. So we spend a few hours actually doing, the things that maybe a broker usually wouldn't be sitting down with their agents and doing.
What are those things that you do, for example?
We'll jump into, something silly like Instagram and Facebook ads, which, sponsored ads, super easy to do. But then you open up like Power Editor and it's really confusing. So I'm sitting there with them and none of us know what the heck's going on. But by the end of that 2 or 3 hour period, we've created some good content and we're pushing it out to the right people. And I didn't just tell them how to do it and make them pay for training. Like, we actually did it and it actually happened. We do massive action days once a month, usually the first Monday of the month, which is our called Mad Day. And we'll provide food and all sorts of fun stuff. And there's like Red Bull for days and a lot of Sour Patch Kids because at 35, that's what I survive on. And we prospect like crazy. So a younger millennial agent isn't typically the type that's going to go door knock and get on the phone and do FSBOs and expireds. They're going to work by referral typically from what I've seen. So this one day we all get together, and when you put a bunch of agents together and get that energy up, we prospect all day long from actually we work out first in the morning, like doing some CrossFit crazy thing in the parking lot. Then no one takes any shower, which is also pretty disgusting. And then we come in our stretchy clothes and we work, and we don't leave until about 4 o'clock. And we tally up, the amount of volume and the amount of listings that we now have purely from a day that they would have never spent, if they had worked anywhere else, which is nice.
So company culture is pretty much everything.
Absolutely. It is the, I was, just talking to someone else earlier today, and they're like, oh, so much about culture, and it's, I'm so sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of hearing about it from people who are lying about it. You know?
Right.
That
Company culture is everything.
Yeah, it's everything, but it's so much nicer to hear it from somebody who, not me per se at all, but these companies that have grown like insane amounts. Or yesterday when I visited Facebook, like that is culture. That's amazing. I mean, you have 15,000 people working for you, yet it's the same across the board. And I just don't like when I hear these, companies are like, our culture is great, and there's like 2 people. I'm like,
Right.
well, get back with me when you've got several. But yeah, that's it. That's what attracts people. That's how it helps me recruit. I don't even have to. I would never be the type to call an agent and try to recruit them over the phone. It's just not my style. But I have these amazing brand advocates because they love where they work and they bring people in, for us.
What is your turnover?
Actually, our retention is really, really great. The people that come in, there's a few people that, I sound like a control freak. There are people that do well with me and people who don't. And
Right.
the ones who don't do well with me, they get pushed out pretty quickly. And they're the ones who are not self-sufficient and they're not good salespeople. Like,
Right.
they don't have the initiative to go out and get things done. So we have very little turnover. We have just about 120 agents. We used to do a termination wall once a quarter, which got a lot of people liked it and people didn't at other brokerages. They were like, there's a lady in town that's actually getting rid of people who aren't working. And yeah, because it made my top producing agents, like, they're really excited that we're getting rid of the bottom dwellers. So we would post all the terminations up on my wall in my office. And if they didn't produce, like, some sort of check did not come into the office, I don't care if it was a rental or anything, within a 90-day period, you're doing something wrong. Like,
Right.
obviously you shouldn't be in this business because your family's starving, so you need to go elsewhere. And it was a nice way for me to get rid of the dead weight without having to have a bad conversation with them, say, I must fire you now. It was as simple as saying, oh, it's that day and your name was up there, so now I'm going to terminate you. And that was really, really, very well received by everyone too.
Right. Let's say I come into your office, I'm a new agent. What are the 3 questions you are going to ask me?
You know what? I'm not a really, I don't want to say traditional person, but I don't go by a lot of lists. And I really like to get a sense of a human being when I talk to them. So I will chat them up. I think I'm a good salesman and not your standard, way of defining it. I'm not a car salesman by any means, but I'm really good at talking to people and figuring out what they're all about and if I will get along with them. Because like I said, I really believe the brokers should take so much more responsibility in their businesses. Even at 100 and whatever agents, that's a lot for me. So as we grow and we expand, we have such good people within our office who are helping me do that now. So it's not a list of questions. It's really, I sound like a hippie. I want to get a feeling for them, like, what's their aura like?
Yeah.
And if I feel like they're a good fit, then I'm happy. I do ask them, how much money do you want to make by the end of the year? And if they give me some abnormally low number, I know they're not meant to be with me. I would love them to give me some big, hairy, audacious, stupid number that I know they won't make, honestly.
Right.
But the fact that they have that hunger and that hustle in them, I know I can get them, close to there at least the first year. But if they're like 20 grand, which is possible in Texas, because the houses aren't that great and expensive, but I want to see a hunger. I want to see somebody who, if I say, what's your goal? Like, what are you, material wise? Like, what are you needing to do with this? Like, I want to support my family. I want to take my family here. I want to hear that more than I want to buy a new bag or a pair of shoes. That's the kind of person that I'm looking for.
You want true motivation.
Yeah.
Cool. So what would you say there's a lot of agents right now, especially millennials, that even though you have a great company and you have great training, they're still looking at outside sources, whether it be websites, groups, coaches. Could you say, or would you say that there are any that you would recommend? Like, even if it was outside your company, let's say it's someone in North Carolina, where would you refer them and recommend for them to go and to learn?
Yeah, it's very interesting because you have your top 3 as of right now. And in my office, that would be, the Ferries, the father and son, and then Buffini. And I think there's 3 different types of agents, and at least in my world. I call them my silver spoon agent, which is the agent who's just born into it. I mean, they know people, they don't have to do much work, the referrals are just pushed to them, and, living the, life of luxury. Then we have my hustlers, which are the door knockers and the expired callers and all that. And then the others that work by referral. So automatically the hustlers and the working by referral will be segmented into 2, the Buffinis and the Ferries. And I respect, those companies very much. I think it's a very traditional mindset. I think that Brian Buffini teaches honestly, I think brokers, we all know what to teach.
Right.
I think that those coaches play in to every agent's want, for the magic pill to success. And then $1,000 a month later, when they're suing them because they've canceled their contract with them, which happens.
Of course.
Which I understand, they signed a contract. It just doesn't work out. So out of those 120 agents I have 3 right now that are paying for professional coaching. Out of those 3, I will say they're some of my most successful agents. I think that they get to a point where a broker cannot, when you grow past probably 50 agents or more, you can't offer the type of accountability that I guess a coach can. I think there's something to be said when you're paying someone $1,000 a month purely for accountability, because that's what it is. I mean, I've listened to the conversation.
Sure.
It's like, this is what you should do this week.
It's like therapy.
Yeah, go do it, and then I'll check back with me next week, and I'll swipe your credit card first, and then we'll see how it went. And I get it. And I'm not disrespecting it whatsoever, because it really works for them.
Yeah.
They are finding massive success, and if they weren't paying, they wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
So there's something to be said. I mean, because there's value in it, and they're putting money into it, they're acting on it. However, as a brokerage, we do provide the same thing, and I think all brokers should. Just a little bit of accountability from a broker perspective. Like, text your agents in the morning and say, what are you going to do today to make sure that you have money coming in 60 days? Like, give me something. I'm going to check back in with you today at 5 o'clock. It takes me a very small amount of time to do that, and I just saved Agent X $1,000 a month from my tiny little silly text message. Now my retention levels have gone up because I'm one of their friends now. I'm their family, and I'm helping them find success. So I don't think coaching is needed, from that old-fashioned traditional standpoint. I think coaching is needed on so many other things that we as brokers can't provide because we're putting out fires.
Right.
Coaching is needed on, like, how can you become more social? How can you do all these things beyond just watching a video of someone doing it?
Right.
Not necessarily, hey, this is real life. You need to put 20 open house signs out. And the agent's like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that, Katie. I'm like, well, you're paying, so you better go do it. And knock on like 800 doors today. And that's what they're being told. And I think that they're just like, they're not even listening anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
From a brokerage standpoint, so you are awesome at public speaking. You speak at a number of conferences. Do you think that, as an agent or a broker, that's something important that they should also look into? And how has that grown your business?
Speaking?
Right.
You know what? It's funny, and people ask me that. And there have been times over the life of my career where I think, why am I here right now? Like, I'm running a business in Houston, and my agents are alone because I feel like everyone's mom, and my phone's not working, and they're trying to get a hold of me. But I really look at it from a couple of different perspectives. I'm not somebody who's like looking for the fame of it or whatsoever in our industry that we're in. I'm looking at it as I'm given the opportunity to speak to people like you and to the others. I mean, I had 38 people over the course of these 4 days to talk to, the best in the industry, and I got to interview all of them on a recorded phone call, which has given me just so much content to deliver to my agents back in Houston, which, how on earth would I ever be given the opportunity to speak to the CEOs of these companies and these top producing agents that are doing like $300 million per year by themselves if I wasn't involved with these certain organizations? And because of that, I mean, that's what drives me, that I can take it home to my agents. It will help me recruit, it will help my retention. There's just so much benefit in it. So I'm just very happy to have, been given the opportunity.
How do you go about recruiting? What is that process?
When we first opened, we didn't acquire any other company to open. It was just me by myself and our owner. And it was like, how are we going to build this place up? And it was complete 100% social media. So I went from being a mother of a 5-year-old who was fairly private to, all right, well, I look the part, and we need to start promoting like crazy. And I got rid of, some people just have that thing where I can't post a lot of public things on Facebook. And good luck building your business, because there is absolutely no other possible way to have gotten where we have gotten, or for me to be here talking to you, if it wasn't for social media. None of us would know anyone. So that really just skyrocketed. Doing events within our office, like just silly. I mean, when you're attracting those millennial agents and you do a prom for them, like during the same time like actual prom is for high schoolers, they really get excited, I found out. So we do like proms, and we do poker nights. I found out you can do poker night as long as the house doesn't make any money. So keep that in mind. It's legal, I hope. We do, I mean, you name it. We do a evening of enlightenment where I bring in, and I'm telling you this because it's all for recruiting.
Yeah.
I don't like calling anybody, and the people come to us when we're offering educational fun things for them. So our evening of enlightenment is when we have our agents come, and agents from other offices as well, bring their spouses in so we can actually explain to the spouses what it is that we really do, how it's not as easy as it may seem, and how not to jump on their ass when a deal busts because they were already expecting that money to come in, because they have no idea how stressful it's been for my agent at the office who's been trying to put it back together just to get yelled at by the wife or husband when they get home. So we have it's a nice night, and we have some dinner and drinks, and we found a place that serves ice cream that has alcohol in it, which is also really great. So those types of things, events has been, I would say, like 100% the way that we've recruited the people that we have.
So the way that agents target their buyers and sellers, you're essentially doing that with agents.
Yeah, 100%. It's, I tell them if they're brand new, like, look how we are in social media. Like, go back to my profile like 5 years ago and see the evolution of Katie, and how I was at first like, I don't want to post that, and now it's, it's much more just natural, and the ratio of personal to business, and how much to irritate anybody so they stop following you altogether. And
well, which is interesting.
Yeah.
You have so many millennials, and I know we talked about this before. Millennials, they kind of put out a lot of stuff.
Right.
A lot of stuff is great and professional, and then some of it you're like, I mean, I know with my agents, I'm like, take that down. What are you doing? I have actually let agents go because of that, because I said this is unprofessional, embarrassing, and it doesn't represent the company properly. So do you go through that? And
my favorite example of this is, and it's good for any broker who's dealing with a younger agent, we weren't at the point where we are now, but I'm about to do it again. I'm gonna have to have my assistant do it because I don't have time. But I went through everyone's Facebook profile when we were about 20, and I pulled I must have had nothing to do at this point in my life. But anyway, I stalked them all, and I pulled their most awful, heinous photo. And then at our rally hour during our meeting, it was just basically a slideshow of how embarrassing they all were. So I was like, hey guys, I've been telling you, like, your social media presence is very important, and what people see is their first impression of you. And it was just like slide after slide of embarrassing, awful, that was from college, Katie. And I'm like, college was a year ago for you. Like, that is not that long ago. Just really embarrassing things to call them out. So they heard other people like looking at them like, my God. And so that was a good way, and that stopped it. But now, 4 years later, it's kind of, ramped up again. My favorite thing is like Snapchat, which I have to constantly tell myself at 35 years old that I need to stop saying that's stupid, because inevitably whenever I say something stupid, it will be the next big thing, like Snapchat. So I was like, that's dumb. What are you guys doing?
I thought so too.
I know, and now I'm watching.
Look, yep.
But then I have my agents who are super professional, usually, and they're promoting themselves like, look at my Snapchat, everyone, on Facebook. So then I'm going to go ahead and assume that the people that they're talking to are looking at their Snapchat. So then I do too, because I'm a creepy stalker, I guess, with all my agents. And the things that I see, I'm like, you literally just said for everyone to look at your Snapchat, and I don't, what's going on? It's like 2 a.m. My favorite thing to do right now, by the way, is to, again, I have a daughter and a boyfriend, and we spend our evenings at home doing non-cool fun things like my agents do, and I like to look at about 1, 2 a.m. at Snapchat, and then look again when I wake up and see how they're all deleted, which is pretty much my favorite because they delete everything, but it's really bad, like the content that they're pushing out. Not everybody, I'm not saying all millennials are bad, but I think they just need to really understand that if you're going to push from one social media outlet to the other, it needs to be uniform.
Or knowing that if you do put something out there, people are looking at it. Yes. People are reading it. For whatever reason, I think there's a disconnect sometimes. People are like, oh, I'm just going to put it out there. It's funny. It's not a big deal. It can be a big deal if you're trying to get a certain type of client, or any client for that matter.
And I have that a lot with my some of the women that work in our organization, and they're beautiful young women. And I think of women as a whole, that 20 to 30 range, and even older, they need to remember that there is we need to bring the reputation back to, what we do for a living. And if you were going and you were showing properties and you were wearing whatever bandage dress you're going to wear out to that night, with like shorter, heels or something, so you think it's respectable. It's not, because that husband and wife, although they're nice to you right then, they get in the car and they drive off, and the wife just slaps the husband in the face. And says, we're never going to work with her ever again. So I think a lot of real estate agents, I don't care what year it is, they try to, I feel like I'm beautiful. I'm going to do so well in this business, especially our younger ones, and they are beautiful, but they need to understand that it's 2016 and you need to, respect the relationship you have with your client and respect. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
It
amen
can get
to
real
that.
awful. God. Ugh.
Katie, thank you so much for joining us
Absolutely.
today. You've been awesome.
Yeah.
And make sure to connect with Katie. What are all of your social handles and connections?
Yeah, it's Katie Maxwell or at Katie M Max, Katie M like Marie Max, Instagram and Snapchat too. I do some crazy things.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's Sam Speaks and Sam Speaks Radio on iTunes. Make sure to check us out each and every week for new tips, trends, and technology and interviews. Thanks so much.